Hey everybody, this is Witcher the Wizard coming to you again with your Twin Flames, the Twin Within energy report for the week of May the 5th through the 11th. Well, I hope everybody's having a great beginning of May so far. I know that things are going really well for myself. April was a bit of a doozy. I was sick for the last half of April, basically, from about the 16th to, I don't know, the 27th or so. And I had, as you can tell, still having a little bit of a cough, which I thought was just, kind of your run-of-the-mill sickness. But now going back and watching some videos from other people on YouTube, apparently a lot of people were having ascension symptoms. And the interesting thing is that before I really came down with my, my illness, I had gone to see a friend of mine who does energy work. I do energy work as well. And this friend of mine, he was saying that there was really something blocking me here, and it had to do with me speaking my truth or not being able to speak my truth. And certainly that is something that I've been really struggling with the last 2 years. And part of that, a lot of that has to do with just my hesitations with going from my old work as an executive in the high-tech industry to doing energy work and being on the twin flame path and doing, tarot card readings and all that kind of stuff. It was a huge shift for me. I had to really let a lot of old things go. I'm still working on coming into the truth of who I am, having faith in that, putting my time and effort into it, and really speaking my truth. Although the more I find that the more I do that, the more I lean into the direction I'm going, the quicker the universe responds with positive affirmations of it. And I'll still get times where, I'll get these, are you really sure you want to go in this direction? Are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to go back into the old patterns of where you were? And that's when I have to really kind of like say, nope, this is what I'm doing. This is what makes me feel good. I love this. Like when I do energy work with people, I love that so much. When I do rune card readings, I love that. I absolutely love that. And the more rune card readings I do, the more I actually have faith in what I'm doing, and the easier it is to move in that direction and put my time and energy, invest in that new me. Right? And that's what it really comes down to is how much are you going to invest in yourself without having, and it's so difficult to invest in yourself when you don't have indications that this is going to mean anything. It's going to turn out to be anything. That's when it's really, really tough. But the sooner you can start to lean into that and put your time and effort into it, the sooner that you're going to start to get those reflections back from the universe that this really is the direction that that you should go. And I'm living proof of that. And it's been a very slow transition for me because I just did not have the faith to invest in that new direction without already seeing some kind of indication that it was the right way to go. And so the whole trick to that is that whether it's the right way to go or the wrong way to go, the sooner you really put your time and effort and investments into that direction, the sooner the universe will give you an indication whether that's the right way or the wrong way to go. And you'll know because you'll just start getting, things will just start either working out or really not working out. And if it feels like you're swimming upstream after you've put a lot of heavy investment into something, then it's probably not the direction you should be going. But after a lot of heavy investment and hard work, things just start opening up for you, and things start working out, then yeah, it is the right direction that you should go. And that's, yeah, either way, you've got to put a lot of time and effort into something. But the differentiating factor is that after putting that time and effort into things, if you're still just getting hit with blocks and things not working out and difficulty after difficulty after difficulty, it's not the right way to go. But after putting a lot of time and effort into something and things just start working, then it is the right way to go. I spent 18 years banging my head against the wall of the tech industry, and I eventually climbed into an executive position, and yet it still felt like every step was fighting, swimming upstream. It never felt like I had that aha moment where things really just, I was in my flow and I felt really good about what I was doing. It never felt like that. I put 18 years of my life and really a lot of hard work and effort into that. And comparatively, the last 2 years, I've put almost no work into my current direction. And yet things are opening up for me. Things are working out. It's a slow trickle because of just the general lack of effort that I've really put into it. Because of my fears and concerns and worries and just how different this was, and kind of being freaked out about that. And, of course, not wanting to be seen as a woo-woo person and all these kinds of things, right? But considering how little effort I've actually put into what I'm doing now, an amazing amount of stuff has opened up for me. And so, I was just laying in bed this morning and I realized, no, it's the toughest part in the beginning when you have no indications from the universe that the direction you're heading is the right one. That's the hardest point in time to really put time, energy, and effort into what you're doing and invest in that. But when you do, however small of an investment you put into it, if it is really your path, your direction, then you'll start to see results. There'll be small results. The results are always going to be congruent with the amount of investment that you put into it. So a small amount of investment leads to small results, and a large amount of investment is going to lead to larger results much more quickly as well. And that's pretty much it. So, and that's what our mistakes look like when we say, "Oh, I made a huge, terrible mistake. I did this thing and it crashed and burned and it was awful." No, it wasn't awful. That was you putting your effort into something and the universe saying, "Great effort, but that's not really the direction you should be going in." And so you learn from those mistakes, you learn from those failures, and you make a course correction, and you move in, a better direction. And it's always going to be in a better direction, as long as you don't wallow in those failures and not seeing them as failures. So not seeing those failures as losses. It could be a failure, but it's not a loss. It's a gain. It's a gain of information of, okay, I learned from that and I'm course correcting and now I'm heading in a better direction and things are working out. Failures should never be seen as losses. It's always giving you more information of the better way to go and the better way to do things. So the worst thing to do in life is to have a desire to do something and but not put any action into it because you're afraid of failure. It's the worst thing to do, because all you're doing is just wasting time. And that's the one thing that we don't have an infinite amount of. We have an infinite amount of everything else. We don't have an infinite amount of time in this body, in this place. So the best thing you can always do is to just go ahead and fail, or not fail, but just don't be afraid of failure. Put yourself into action. If you fail, take notes, figure out what you need to learn from that, and then put yourself in action into the next point of direction to keep going. And if you do that, and if you're listening to your heart, you will eventually, and you're getting that feedback from the universe, you'll eventually get to that place of bliss. And when I use the word bliss, I was actually talking with a friend of mine yesterday about this. It's kind of a tricky word because we often think that it's synonymous with happiness or joy. But I don't think so. The way the word bliss comes up for me is that you're in the sweet spot of your life. It's like you're in the zone. When you get in the zone and time just goes by, like 10 hours can go by, and you don't even notice it because you're just really into what you're doing. You're just so in alignment with your true self, with your true north. And yeah, just time just flies by, and before you know it, like all this time has gone by. You have no idea because you're just in that state of bliss. And that's what life looks like when you are doing what you should be doing, when you are in alignment with your true north. You could be doing really hard work. And there's nothing wrong with hard work. Hard work and struggle are two different things. Struggle can exist at any level of effort, right? You can be struggling and you're not putting in any effort. You can be struggling when you're putting in a gargantuan amount of effort. That can be struggle, right? You can be laying on your couch and struggling. You can be working 18-hour days and struggling. Or you can be working an 18-hour day and be in complete bliss. And that's when the difference is that you're in alignment with yourself, right? Or you can have one of those days where you get up whenever you feel like getting up. You work whenever you feel like working. You take time to journal, or go out on a nature walk whenever you feel like you're living that true sense of your life, and you're also in bliss because you're just in complete alignment with yourself. I knew a guy. He's a friend of a friend in San Francisco, where he did. He was a tattoo artist, and he was a pretty good tattoo artist. And he made enough money from his tattoo artistry that he had his place to live. It wasn't a super, super nice place, but it was his place in San Francisco. That says a lot. And he could go out and take a bike ride whenever he wanted to. He could work on. He was a clay artist. He did a lot of clay art. And he could do that whenever he wanted to. And he was just, he didn't have a lavish life, but in a way he did. He didn't have a lot of things, but he had a very lavish lifestyle because he was able to do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. And I consider that the life that we should all try to attain. To me, the definition of success is leading a life of being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it every day. Period. That's success. That is success in life. So anyway, on that note, I want to get to the masculine and feminine energies for the week. So for the feminine energy, we pulled up the Ace of Cups, and that is your being in love with yourself and being inspired and listening to your heart. Your heart is your Ace of Cups. It is that self-love, and that trust in what it's telling you, having faith in what it's telling you. Listen to your heart, because your heart will never steer you wrong. Your brain will, Never listen to your brain when it comes to the direction in life you should take. Right? The brain is an amazing servant. It's a terrible master. Your heart will always point you true north, and your brain will figure out how to get there. But the heart is telling you where to go in life, and the brain is saying, "Okay, let's figure out how to get there." Right? So the brain is an amazing servant, a terrible master. Your heart is the master. Listen to your heart. It's your true north. It's your compass. It will always point you to your true north. And so, and that's why, that's the job of the feminine energy, is to be in connection with that. That's the high priestess, right? The high priestess is the feminine energy in connection to your higher self, giving you that constant GPS signal to guide you along your way. And even if you get off into, you've got a detour and you get rerouted, that GPS signal will always point you in the right direction. You can just reroute. So that's your feminine energy. It's just reminding you to listen to your heart and to trust. Even when the world says, well, that's crazy. That's okay. The world can think that. But your heart knows better, because your heart's connected directly to your higher self. And your higher self has the bird's eye view of what's going on. The world doesn't. So that's your feminine energy. The masculine energy is the hangman in reverse. So the hangman can, traditionally it's a sign of waiting. It's also a sign of seeing things from a different perspective. Self-sacrifice as well. The hangman in reverse, the feeling that I'm getting is that the waiting is over, and it's time to put yourself back into action. Right? So sometimes when we're trying to find our true north, we have to hang ourselves upside down to have that time to get it, get that different perspective and absorb it, to figure out what it means. Odin is the hangman, and Odin hung himself on a tree upside down for 9 days and 9 nights. And from that time and contemplation, from that different perspective, he gained the knowledge of the runes. And you can see there the runes. See if that'll focus in. But you can see the runes there behind him. And so he gained that knowledge. He had to connect. He had to connect with his divine feminine energy to gain the knowledge of the runes. It's the well of Erd. That was the well of the Norns at the base of the world tree. And the Norns are a feminine energy. And they weave the web of weird that is the fate of all things in the universe. Right? Even the gods can't escape that. And so Odin hung himself on the tree to connect with that feminine energy and to gain the knowledge of the runes, in which he became the very first rune master, and he released that knowledge to the rest of everyone else, so that we could gain the knowledge of the runes and their power. But after he gained that knowledge, he came down from the tree, and it's time to come down from that tree. It's time to come down from that hanging from a different perspective and contemplation, and to put ourselves in action. The very first thing he did was he released all the runes to the rest of the universe for our use. And then he himself went off and started becoming a rune master, and learning Galder, which is the art of chanting the runes. So yeah, trust your heart, and put yourself in action. Invest in what your heart is telling you to invest in. And the more you invest in that, the sooner you will see those results of the universe saying, "Yep, this is it. Go for it." And just one last thing on that. You know, I grew up in Kansas City. I'm in Kansas City. It's a fairly conservative place to grow up when I grew up here, and I had a lot of that old programming about how people would think about people doing Reiki energy work. And it was a real fear. It was just a real fear of being ostracized by the community. And just the other day, I got a text message from the pastor at my dad's Lutheran church. And she said, "Oh, by the way, I gave so-and-so your contact information. She wants to do Reiki work with you." So I'm like, the pastor at a Lutheran church is referring people to me for Reiki work. I mean, I can't think of any bigger sign from the universe saying, "Hey, Dave, like, do this. It's okay. And this is what you're meant to do, and the community will support you." So there you have it, right? There you have it. And that was the day after I talked to. So I have a job, and I have a day job that I got because I needed to get some financial stability. And I went in and I talked to my manager and asked him to cut my hours down so that I would have more time to see clients. And so I'm putting my faith into saying, "Hey, I want fewer hours at work, so I have space for clients." And that was a risk, right? I'm going to be making less money in this sure thing, but I'm saying, no, I'm doing this. I'm investing in myself because I want to have time for more energy. And then the very next day, I get this text message from the pastor at my dad's church saying that they have sent someone my way to do Reiki work. So, perfect example of how when you take that blind leap of faith and invest in the direction that your heart is telling you is the right way to go, the universe will immediately respond and say, "Yep, you were right. Here you go." Boom. So, all right, the oracle card for today. I've never seen this card before. It's the first time we've gotten this one. Number 20, flying. Look at that. Unicorns and rainbows. Literally. All right, hang on. Let's look that up and I'll read it to you all. Flying. Seems appropriate. All right. You have the power to see things from a higher perspective. If you were a bird flying in the air, what would you see? When you soar above life's challenges and opportunities, a new perspective becomes available. Today you have invisible wings that allow you to swiftly bring your circumstances into alignment with your highest purpose. This is a sign that your waiting is over, that all your hard work is paid off, and that the things you hoped for are no longer beyond your scope. You have the ability to reach for the stars and find one with your name on it. Spread your wings and soar. The angels are waiting for you. There you go. I don't think I need to say anything else. Pretty much speaks for itself. And worked beautifully with the two cards, the feminine energy and the masculine energy. Connecting with your higher self, coming into a new perspective, using that perspective to put yourself into action, and find that star with your name on it, because that's what this journey in life, and especially this twin flame journey, is all about. It's bringing your masculine and feminine energies into union with each other, so that they work synchronously with each other, and that you can move forward with your heart guiding you and your masculine energy moving you forward and finding that star with your name on it. So that's it for this week. Have a great week. If you enjoyed this video and you made it this far, thank you very much. Please give me a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And be safe, and I will see you next week. Oh, by the way, I do do rune readings. If you are interested in a rune reading, contact me in the information below, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.